Just a bad memory. Is this love I see? Just a bad memory. You're 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 just a bad memory.
Good morning. It is Thursday, and it's a good time to stream some game development. Today, I think we will be creating a cookbook so that you can read your recipes. And that's about as far as I've gotten. I'm not quite woken up yet, but that's not the end of the world. Let's see here. We have some fixes and changes since last. So what I played around with the other day was just creating sort of like a world around. And I don't know if you guys remember what it looked like before, but it used to just be like a turquoise background, a green background, and now we created more of an environment. This is not super cozy right now, I think. But I think you'll have to play around a bit with like the proportions of things and make it a bit more stylized for it to properly work. But it's a start. It's a start. So let's see here. So where we are right now with this thing is that you can still put new little tables and decorations in your foodery, which is good. I changed so that you don't see the ceiling anymore, so you can properly select your cooking stations, and that you can put or stock up on whatever you want to stock up on here. So once you run it, it's same thing. Customers come in, they're gonna order stuff from you, and then you're gonna serve them. But here we can actually see the wall. This I need to fix this before we move on. I'm pretty sure this is not how it should look while you're playing, right? But this is what it is when you sort of stop halfway through them. Okay, there he left. He was unhappy with it. It took too long. Let's see here. Oj. And other than this, we have the radio feature that we built on stream a couple of weeks ago. And I think that's sort of it, right? We have a new end of day summary screen coming up that our UI and 2D artist is working on. That's going to be fantastic. Right, so we have a bit of updates on the radio has a bit more legible UI. It tells you and gossips a bit about the types of customer that comes in. But here, so like if you don't know what a recipe entails, like I know because I built it, but like you may not know that you can double fry chicken of the wood, for example, to get like a different texture or a different dish. And that's what we're gonna do today. So we're gonna build the actual cookbook. So when you interact with this one, it's gonna come up a UI that tells you what like how to cook certain things, basically. And I think that's that. So we'll need to start somewhere, but at first, just these walls. Let's see here. This foundation that I created, it has some issues because this wall shouldn't be part of it, I think. And neither should this. So I'm just gonna do some cleanup from the last development session, and then we can head on. Let's see here. That. Okay. So. Oh, I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing this today. I think we're gonna try to be done with the cookbook, and that's a goal at least. But where is this part? Oh, okay. We'll see how far we get. It's gonna be a bit of coding, a bit of UI design, but no modeling today. Let's see here. So if we drop this one, yeah, that works. Perfect. Okay. It looks a bit weird right now. We need to fix this. We're gonna make like smaller adjustments of this later. Oh, we have some incredible Z fighting going on. We just need to fix it. And as you see, like I never bothered texture everything on top of of the buildings here also because you don't really see it. And you're not going to be able to go outside of the food ring, not at least at this point. So I think it's good as it is. We're just going to commit this and then we head on. I don't know what change I did to the player control. Ah, that's the animator that we don't need to do. Okay. What do we say here? Created, added stage backdrop. Caps Sprocket. Caps Sprocket is the name of the town It's the same town as we had in the first game that we released a few months ago, Mega Cap Arena. So it's gonna take place in the same universe, which is kind of sweet, I think. All right. We're in a good state now to start playing around with it. Okay, so we have an interactable system that I'm using for all the things that you can actually interact with. And basically, how it works is that when you get close enough to something, it's gonna start like listening to you pressing a button. And if you are close enough to multiple things, it's gonna pick the one that you're closest to. This is probably gonna be modified with one more thing to make it a bit more deterministic, and that is that we should only sort of interact with the things that you are facing. And I think that's gonna make it as good as it can be without snowflaking too much and stuff. But it's for a future thing. I'm just putting down ideas here for myself. So let's see. Here we have an interactable this part. So the problem here is that the garbage bin is interactable. This cash machine is where you take orders. That's also interactable. So we'll see if this is a good place for the cookbook. Maybe it's not. I will deal with that when we get to it. Maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not. Maybe we will even put it next to a cooking station instead. No? Oh, we'll start here anyway. So here we have, I will even call it a cookbook. We even created the interactive. Oh my god, we're so far ahead of things. We don't need a game interactable for this though. What do we need? Truly, we need to create our own custom interactable. So it's still gonna, it's still gonna implement all the functionality of a game interactable, but on the interact function, we're gonna override that and create our own handling. Oh yeah. But in this case, like the other stuff that we've done, like setting a cookbook, setting up the cooking stations, or like stacking up or stocking up ingredients in the crates, they are done in a very different way, because they also have interaction, and depending on what you do there, it affects what it affects the game state, basically, because you're changing things in the world, right? You're putting mushrooms in this crate rather than whatever. And in this case, we're just going to be you're just going to be able to look through your list of recipes. And where the trick might come is that I think there's it's not a given way to just to sort recipes, because you might want to say like, oh, okay, there's a deep frying festival coming up. I want to see what deep fry recipes I have. And or maybe we should even just show what cooking stations you currently have installed. I mean, this is going to be accessed when you run the diner, mainly. Oh, we'll see how we work that out. But first of all, we need to let's close down this. This don't help us. So this is just a base skeleton of an interactable. And what we want to do when you open the cookbook, you want to... We basically want to open up the UI and I want to wait until it's been cancelled. Right? And since we don't need any further functionality, we're gonna create one anyway. So let's see here. Interactables. Cookbook interactable, we'll call it. We add both of these. Okay. So this is in interactables, but the interactor component on the character will be listening for stuff that implement this API. So it's not a full-on interface, but it does specify the sort of base task that you want to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to override this perform interaction thing. We can, let's see, perform interaction. Okay. And then what are we going to do? First of all, we're going to have a UI document here. And to begin with, we're just going to put all the UI code in here as well. And maybe we'll break that out later. But for now, this is where we start. So here we can use require component. And in Unity, what this does is that it, whatever game object you place this component on, it makes sure that the other component is there as well. So require component type of UI document. That means that in the Unity lifecycle, you have the awake, the enable, the start events when a game object is being first created and awoken. So we can use the awake function here, which is called for the others and only once, to set up the reference to the UI document. We don't actually need like a serialized field here to drag and drop it. We can just, eat it from the from the get-go because of this require component thing. Document, and then here we do document equals get component UI document. And now we're going to have a reference to that, and that's going to be stored during the during the lifetime of this game object. We're going to need access to all the recipes, and then we're going to need like a filter, basically. So when you learn new recipes, we're going to store that in an inventory. And those recipes will be used to filter out from all the recipes that we know. So we will create we have a scriptable object called asset warehouse where we put all the different types of game data that we have. And there we also have like an entry for recipes. I can show what it looks like. So, I thought we have to wait until it compiles properly. Since we have new files and everything, the assemblies need to be rebuilt. Okay. So, right, the warehouse looks like this. That we create it basically keeps track of everything. So all the decorations are here. We only have 2 decorations currently. We're gonna add some more later. We have all the resources, and the resources are purely for cooking. So a recipe, by its nature in this game, takes a resource and process it through a cooking station. And the result is another resource. So you can sort of cook something multiple times. So if you want to make a deep fried pie, for example, you would take an apple and you put it in the oven to make a pie. And then you take that pie and put it in the deep fryer, and that's going to create like the deep fried pie. And then we have the purchasable resources, which are things that you would stock up on stuff. Cooking stations are the available transformers that I just mentioned. And then, here we have access to the recipes, right? Golden mushroom platter, deep fried tenders, and double deep fried tenders are the current recipes that we have. I thought we had something for... we have more of them here. I just haven't added them. That's bad parenting, I almost said. There we go. Okay, so we need access to this. So we're gonna need access to the warehouse. We can have that set up, or I wonder if... I think we already have a warehouse here within the foundation. If we don't have it here, it's probably gonna be populated as it's spawned. No, we don't need that. Since it's a scriptable object, we don't need a scene reference to it. My bad. So we're gonna need a asset warehouse. Let's see where these are created. I don't remember this fully. Where is this? Is it being set up automatically? Yeah, it does it on Awake. Okay. So for the foundation to spawn things... Let's see. Like how does the trash bin work? I don't remember this. It doesn't even have access to things. On item trash. It sets up an event, and the event... Where is this being used? What? Aha, take item. Okay. Right, so we just relieve the player of its item. That's why we don't need an access to it. And I don't think we need access to the asset warehouse on any of these otherwise. So maybe we should... How do we do this in a smart way? Okay, so in the diner, you would know which recipes you have available. Should you be able to view all the other recipes that you haven't unlocked yet? Probably. I'm not sure. What do we think? Nah, we can let it have access to a warehouse. Then the question is, should the foundation that we spawn in have the warehouse? Or since it's a local thing, it may as well just have access to it. Let's see here. Where's the cookbook placed here? In the environment. Let's move that out because it's an interactable thing. We're going to need this also. Cookbook interactable. and it needs a UI document, and that we created. So this is what the required component did. It automatically created the UI document for us, and we're going to do a HUD panel, and we will be creating a new UI. What's it called? A visual tree asset. UI markup. Here we go. Cook. No, we don't need to create a folder. We need to create a UI document here. Cookbook interactable. Hey, cookbook. We just call it cookbook view. And then it's populated there. So let's create something here for now, just like a red box. Just so we see what we're working with. Not the text color. Background, here we go. Why did I? There should be an easy, smart way to just make it. Wait, we do this. Aha, okay. Okay. You know what? I am the person that is not doing things proper for us here. What am I sitting and like fiddling with this for? This is completely unnecessary. I think that I wonder if this UI document should we hide this? I think this should just be a separate document actually. There we go. I think that makes more sense. Then we can turn it on and off again without, or like we can turn off and on the game object rather than like fiddling with individual components. There we go. And then we need to remove the constraint we put here before. All right, okay. So let's first make sure that we have like a place to show the recipes, I think. Let's see here. Okay. So a recipe is, as we said, like a base ingredient with a recipe is a base ingredient that's transformed a number of times. And that number is usually 1, but it can be 2. Or 3. So What I'm thinking is that we will create sort of like a list. We start with a list. Maybe we'll have pages. Maybe we'll have pages, and we will add some cool animation to it later and stuff. But it's not important now. First, I think we're having like a book that you open up, so it's 2 pages. So we'll create a page 1. We call this one page 1. And then we have page 2. And this should be visually distinct. So currently I'm just blocking out the pages, like what, so I get the UI sort of correctly set up. So in this case we can see, because the book shouldn't be like half pages like this. It's not like an almanac or something. Need to change the order of this, and maybe we will even create we'll have a root here. We'll make it a bit easier to handle the other things around. Root. Page 1 and 2. And then we change the flex direction of this root element, and that should align the boxes the way we want. Of course, we're gonna need like some sort of title and stuff here, but maybe we call these pages so that we have a bit of wiggle room for later stuff. Like if we want to add a title, then we can do that, like above this one, for example. I think we have a header medium. Could it be? Yeah. If we centralize this, or center it, I mean. There we go. We write cookbook here. Cookbook. Or grandmama's recipes. I think that's a cute way of calling it. So what are we going to do with each page here? We don't really need like a title that says page 1 or page 2. I think let's just start by adding the recipes. And once we have the recipes and the layout of that done, then we can look into like what other auxiliary things that we would need. First of all, we're going to need some sort of cancel button. So let's start by adding that. Call it cancel. Kudasai. I have a class called text button, so that should make it look like the others. And then of course we need to do some minor stuff. We set the width here. There we go. Cute. Oh yeah, will this one, there we go. And then it should say cancel also. I think that helps a lot if you're gonna press the button, you wanna know what the button does, right? Cancel. Or close maybe. Close. And I don't think we need to, let's see here. We don't need to set these pages to like 90. Let's see here. We'll do this. We have them on grow. I wonder if, let's see here. Justify content. Can we stretch this? No. line content like this. It's only 2 pages anyway, so it doesn't really matter here. We do this. Or maybe we do it here. Wait. Will it go for the max value if we don't have anything set? No, it won't. Okay. We'll set it to 100% and then if it doesn't work the way we want it to work, then we'll have to deal with it some other smarter way. There we go. So I have the 2 pages. This one could have a bit of padding, so have a bit of wiggle room. And now I can create what we want here. So I'm thinking that we'll create some sort of a helper component. Oh, hello. Very nice to have a chatter chatting. I hope everything is well with you. We're making a cookbook where you can see all your recipes and stuff. Nice that you joined. I'm gonna go and get some coffee a second. All right. It is pretty cool, right? So we're gonna have like the 2 pages, and then we're gonna list the recipes here. We may even create some recipes. We will see where the stream takes us. How is your day going so far? Right, so we're gonna be creating components out of these pages, or at least what like a recipe looks like, so we can reuse it for later. But what I tend to do is I just create it in in the document that I would want it to be in first, and then I sort of prefabify it. I use the same sort of mindset as I do with 3D prefabs in game object views in general. It's good. Good is good. It's pretty decent weather in Stockholm. I hope you have a decent weather where you are too. I mean, like I can look out the window and I can see how lovely it is outside. I'm not a huge outdoorsy person, but it's nice when the sun is shining and the leaves and trees are dancing. Okay, so we have some icons for the different recipes and resources and everything, but basically a recipe. Wait, let's see now. So a recipe is a resource transformed into another resource. For this particular thing, we would need to have some sort of smart way of knowing whether we have hit like the end of it. We need to go backwards from the recipes that we know, and then we say, okay, this recipe requires this ingredient, and then we do a backwards lookup to see what is the base ingredient for this recipe. And then we see, is this ingredient created by something different as well? And then we'll need to map that all the way through. So you'll see. We'll see how to do that in a smart way. But we have to make some assumptions here, because like theoretically you could cook something 7 times. Like you put it in the oven, and then you put it in the deep fryer, and then you take the deep fried stuff and you put it on the grill to get like a nice char thing, and then you boil that part to make a dumpling out of it, and then you cook the dumpling in the oven, and then you deep fry it again. And I think that I think that's a good way of like thinking about it, but also we need some limitations. Like we won't be able to like fit stuff like recipes that are way too long. So let's not. I think 3 steps is absolute max for now at least. So let's start by assuming that. I think that's a good starting point. So we call this a recipe. Probably need like a groove box for this first. Recipes, and then in here we have one recipe. This one should automatically grow to fill its content, and then this one should be, I don't know, I think we can set these like hard-coded values. I think that's a good way to do it here, because we assume that the entire view is going to be a certain size, so this will be fine. Where do we have the height and width here? Is it just okay. So I don't know why the height is being forced open now. What is going on? It's because of the grow. Okay, sorry, my bad. Okay. The width can be fine, and then we set like a height constraint. Again, we're gonna use some like debugging tricks just to make sure that stuff looks and pads and stuff the way we want it to. So like that, the page in and of itself will also have a bit of padding. Okay. And then one recipe is gonna have, I'm thinking that you'll see what it is that like what recipe you can cook to the far left, and then we will see like a chain of refinements basically. So let's start by that. Now we should probably call this properly too. So we call this the result or dish. All of them are dishes, I guess, but result to dish we call it. And this one also don't need to be super long. So there. And this one should have an icon in it that is like the actual dish that we're gonna be creating. And this one we can have a certain aspect ratio to this 1:1, and then can we align this there? So like that, we call it icon, and then a label. But here's the thing also, like, it's one thing just seeing like what how to cook the recipes, but the recipes also have like probably some fun, interesting facts. Maybe they have some tags that adheres to different type of customers and stuff. So we'll need to have a bit of wiggle room with like the stuff that we put here. But you have to start somewhere. You always have to start somewhere. So my first dish, we call this one. And we center the text also. And I think I have a class for Header small. There we go. And the icon we give a nice crisp image. This starts to look like some UI from the 90s. I'm kind of here for it. Okay. So maybe we should have a pie instead and we make it out of apples there. Okay. So we have a result dish, and this is gonna be created by taking one base resource into a refinement or a cooking station, and then delivering this. But if you only have one resource and it goes into like a cooking station, how do we need to show that in a smart way with some arrow or something. Okay, so this one is good. We add another one. First of all, we need to flex these horizontally, and we need to align these smarter. Let's see, these are these just nah, that's not what we wanted. These are being evenly distributed. That's not really what I'm looking for here. There we go. Does this need to be? Okay, good. So this will be the base ingredient. Excuse me. And we will do this. Apply. Apple, and then we use the Apple icon. Apple. And then this is going into a cooking station. How do we show this in a smart way? Because it's going to be like dish into cooking station. And then it could be into dish into cooking station. So I guess all of them would be it's a linear thing, but we need like a ingredient, arrow, cooking station. And then if you have more of them, it would be arrow, ingredient, arrow, cooking stations. So like you see sort of what you transform them into. Or maybe we don't even need to see that. Yeah, it's true. Okay, so we basically only need the base ingredient, and we need to show which cooking stations are coming in which order. Right? That's good. That's good. That saves cooking station. That makes it easier because then we could potentially create like like a 7-step recipe without any problems. So do we have any good icons for a cooking station? I don't think we do. I may have some lying about, but maybe we need to create it. Okay, so let's create a quick icon for a cooking station. We're not gonna do it super fancily. We're gonna steal it from the game, and then we're gonna call it a day. Oi. Right. So this UI is in need of some hiding. Let's see. Foundation. Here we go. Cookbook. We hide that one. So, we only need to hide the cookbook. Sorry. Okay, which cooking stations do we need icons for? We need for all of them. So like in the last game, I had a photo studio scene where I could just drop a bunch of game objects and it was sort of create icons for me by just taking pictures and loading them and unloading them and stuff. I should probably add that back here. But let's see. We start with the oven here. So move. Okay. 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 There we have the oven. Let's just steal an image of this, like that. Ideally, like if we are to use this in the actual game later, we need to do some adjustments so that it reads well on a small, like on a small screen, or like as a small icon. But for now, I think this is going to be plenty enough. So let's see here. Screenshots. Okay, I'm doing this off screen because I have all my screenshots here, and not all of them are necessarily. Yeah, they shouldn't be showed here on stream, I think, because I work with secret stuff. That's why. Got icon, cooking station. Oh no, okay. Where do we have the cooking stations? Show me. Is it under here? No. Recipes and models. Okay, this is only for the cooking stuff. Where are the cooking stations then? Props, objects. Okay, this we move this immediately because it's too hard to find. It should just be under game, I think, or cooking. Game. Okay, so here we have the cooking stations. That's perfect. They don't have the icons here, but here we will create a little icons folder, and then bing, bada boom, we have a cooking station icon. Apply. Good stuff. And now, if we head back into our UI document handling thingy, let's see here. Now. Perfect. As you see, it's not like it doesn't read super well, especially like if you go on like on a smaller thing. Like this is what we need to fix later. But for now, I think that works. It's gonna help us just align things, and it doesn't look super boring because you can sort of see what it does. Oven. Okay. We don't call this my first dish anymore. We call this apple pie. Apple pie. I think like the steps we should probably just put in a separate container, so that we sort of boxify that and say like, okay, this is what it's going to look like. So these steps, and then we put these two in. So if anyone wondering what this actually looks like, or what this is, the UI builder, it's part of Unity's UI toolkit. So it's their sort of new UI solution, which is more akin to like what the general industry has been using, which is moving over to web frameworks. It uses not CSS and HTML, but XML and USS, and it's very similar. It doesn't have entirely the same feature set, but it uses like the Flexbox API and these things. Okay, so we need to flex these horizontally as well, otherwise this happens. And I think that's not ideal. There we go. And then we change the background of this also so we can see that this is a different box. Oh, the border. That's my bad. Okay, perfect. Gorgeous. Wow. Art. Art, I tell you. Okay. So we have a base ingredient, we have an oven, and as we said before, we should allow... Jag är hungrig. Well, then I think that you should go eat. Jag är hungrig is Swedish for I am hungry. So I think, unless I made you hungry by showing you the delicious recipe of an apple pie, of course. But we're gonna make more recipes as well, so so you will have to quench your hunger in one way or another, I think. All right. So our recipe will be one base ingredient that can be cooked multiple times. And we said that we would have 3 possible times, and at 3 this overflows currently. So we'll need to make this sort of respect the boundaries of the parent object here. Working on a restaurant game makes me hungry, yeah. It is part of it. How are you not famished? Okay, so I think the key is like using these type of very, very stylized icons as well. Like the more tasty looking stuff goes, the worse it gets, right? But also like the game in general, it takes place in like in a make-believe world, Pangorelia. Wait, let's see here. So it's more of a cute thing, but like it's not until I actually start playing, you know, when you have the deep fry sound and all these things that I I get really, really hungry. Oh yeah, I do like cooking though. So like I get more excited about cooking than eating for some reason. I don't know if that's strange. Right. So we have we need to have these steps box to respect the parent size, and I think we can do that by just setting this to 100%. Oh wait, here. I thought incorrectly. Maybe these pages actually need to be a fixed size for that to happen. Or is it allowed to shrink? Is that why? No. Okay, what happens if we actually set this to something like that then? 100% of the box, of course. Okay, no, that's why. So we do this. But it's still pushed out on the side. so unnecessary. Why does it do this? Not everything is a given. Oh yeah. So how are you doing otherwise? Are you a developer or are you a gamer? Do you like cooking overall or? I don't know why. Why does this do what it does? I don't know. These are not going to change in a way. We can set pixels because we set the sort of the bounding UI document to respect 1920 by 1080 anyway, so it's going to scale dependently of that. We might have some issues with icons going bonkers on like bigger screens and stuff, but it's not important to fix that right now. Like while we don't have the functionality in place, my philosophy is that all of the aesthetics and stuff doesn't matter. Like once you have the base things working so that you can put it into someone's hands and they can sort of, in this case, look through the cookbook and see these are the recipes that I can make. Before we have that, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. But it becomes really boring to just look at these boxes. So we're gonna make it prettier also. But for now, let's like keep our keep our minds on the current goal, which is just being able to populate this with the recipes that we've set up. Okay. So this should cover those steps. That's good. We have an apple pie, and in this case we would triple cook it, and that wouldn't be true for it. Maybe we can do this actually. Triple cooked apple pie. It's like crusty almost. Okay. And here we see we have an like an what's it called? A line break that comes in. It also makes the icon smaller, and I'm not sure if I really like that. Okay. What happens if we do this? Because we're not going to be able to auto size this, I think. Maybe we'll just have to set it to a smaller size so that it actually respects it. As I said, like we might add tags and stuff later to like what types of food this is. So we'll have to save some space. But for now, how does it look if we actually remove one of these cooking station steps? Okay, that sort of works. So we need to put arrows in here as well. Something that shows that, okay, this is step 1, put it in the oven. Step 2, put it in the oven again. And step 3, put it in the oven a third time. And then how you get the triple cooked apple pie, right? But maybe this sort of developer art is enough for now, and then we can start plugging in the systems. I think that should be good enough. One recipe. Okay, can we create template here? Let's see, assets, game, UI, components here. Recipe box. Okay, so if we create, how many of these can we have? I think if we have 5, it's going to be very tight. But maybe that works. And can we distribute this? Ta-da! Perfect! Oh my, this is amazing. Look how pretty it is. And then we should be able to have another page too. There we go. Oi. This one had a bit of padding though. We want that here too. 33. Okay. Our title disappeared here for some reason. Why? It's because I need to put it above. Grandma's recipes. And she can only make triple cooked apple pie 10 times. She went a bit crazy towards the end and started writing the same recipe. I think that's the reason. We have, for each page we have a bunch of recipes. We have a bunch of recipes. I think we're just gonna call this, like we could dynamically create these boxes, but may as well just iterate over them and populate them as we go, I think, and then we can hide and show the ones that are of interest. Wait, if I do this, okay, that won't work. Actually, that won't work. we need to change this because now if we would remove like 3 of these, what we want is that it only shows at the top of it, right? But it shows the recipes in the middle of it, and that is not very pretty, I think. So let's revert what we did with this structure thing. We will set them like this, and then instead what we will do is that each recipe box save. This one will have to have some bottom margin. It doesn't have to be much. Oh, 50 pixels. Doesn't have to be much. Half the page. I think there we go. And now we just need to do the same thing here. So now if we remove these, perfect. Now it shows like the way we want it to. So we call this recipe box 6, and then 7, all the way up to 10. The magic number. All right. We call this 1 also. We don't have to be that devious. It's gonna be offset by 1, of course. Thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. It increased my amount of followers by 15%, which is insane. Okay. So, yeah, we're just gonna be adding the logic to this now. I think this is a good place to start. We just are they called smart things now? We have the result dish. There we can get the icon and the label. That's fine. And then we have base ingredient. We need to change the name of this cooking station so we can access them as well. Okay. Let's show. We call these steps instead. I think it's a better way of calling it. Step 2. And then step 3. Okay. That's good. Now we should have a proper setup for it. So now we should be able to start, like populating. And this part of UI coding is very different now in UI Toolkit because it's more like web style. But even though you wouldn't necessarily create the components in the same way, it's a bit like tedious. It's one of those like no matter what you work with, you have these tasks that are menial that you just need to do, and they're gonna take a certain amount of time, and that's what it is. And that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna let things simmer and take a bit of time while we just find the elements and then we apply the icons from the recipes, basically. So let's go back into Rider. Since we no longer have this on the same, we don't have the UI document on the same object because I want us to be able to just turn off and turn on the thing right now without where I can just turn on and off the game object without having to worrying about the Unity game object lifecycle sort of intrinsics that come with the territory. And we just need to override this. And since this is the document is on its own game object now, we can just access that and say set active true. So when we interact with this cookbook now, it's going to show the UI. That's a good start. And then we had a bunch of different things there, right? We need to populate this with the currently known recipes. For this, what we want to do, like at the end, is to wrap it all up by filtering it out with the known recipes that you have. But currently, we're just gonna assume that you know all the recipes from the start, so we can get all the stuff into the cookbook. So we need an asset warehouse here. Asset warehouse. This is not something from Unity. This is something that I've created, and this is bound to a scriptable object that keeps track of like all the game data that we have. So like recipes, resources, dishes, decorations, and these things. We don't need two of them though. We have for each or recipe. We only have get specific recipe. So this would maybe assume that we already have like a list of known recipes. We may as well do this then. For now, we put it in Unity in a serialized field. Known recipes. And then we do a big fat to do and say load this from inventory, so we don't forget it later. I'm going to forget it later, I know it, and I'm gonna be confused about why things is not working, but I'm putting it here, so hopefully someone can remind me. And then we go. Rather in getting recipes here, we do in the known recipes here. Recipe SO for scriptable object, because that's how we store everything. Warehouse. Actually, we're gonna get recipe. We're gonna change the name from asset warehouse to just warehouse because it's easier to write. So the recipe just looks through if we have the recipe and it returns it. And the recipe data is, as I said before, just a transformation with a base ingredient, which is a resource, and sort of end ingredient that is also a resource. And then you can use that resource to put in other stuff. And recipes is like if you want to cook something more than once, then we will need to like recursively look through those recipes, and that's what we're going to do now. So we get recipe by ID, but I think recipes are actually stored on. Do they have IDs? We need to take a look at this. I need to refresh my memories. Oi, oi, oi. I'm having like these different types of streams. Like the previous ones have been more about 3D modeling and putting that part in. Now there is more coding. I'm sort of allowing myself to enjoy a bit more code music, and it's kind of nice. It doesn't really give the cozy restaurant management vibe, but I guess like if you're looking at this or watching this, you have some sort of interest in game development. So this is what me as a game developer listen to when I create games. Okay. Right. We need to take the UI here and known recipes. Here we have the different recipes. They don't currently. All right. So the recipes aren't necessarily bound to a cooking station currently, but a cooking station can have recipes and you can cook them there. In order for this to work, we would either have to look it up through the cooking stations that are available, or we would need to add the cooking station information to the recipe itself. And I think that is more of a sane approach. We can have some like guardrails and stuff later also to make sure that we end up in the right place. So I think for these type of things, we could just have a string of like what type of cooking station, or even we could reference the exact cooking stations. Maybe that's the best way. Yeah, we do that. Cooking station scriptable object cooking station. Now we bind every recipe to a specific cooking station, so you can't cook the same recipe on different cooking stations. Maybe this is a problem actually. Like, say that you could, like this would lock us out from the possibility of having different tiers of cooking stations. Say that you have like a fancy oven, for example. But then again, maybe that doesn't need to be a separate. Is this smart? No, no, it's not. It's not. We're gonna assume which type it is. Let's do that instead. Data. Okay. We don't need a Unity script for this. We need a good old fashioned enum. And we call it cooking station type. And we have currently oven, deep fryer. We have a chopping board. And we have a cooking pot. We're gonna have a griddle and steamer and air fryer maybe and stuff later. But for now, this is the ones we have. And then we simply use that for our station here. And then we could actually use this on the actual cooking stations as well. So we have some sort of way of looking back and forth there. What this type are. Cooking, we just call it type in the cooking station because then you're already here, right? So what does that change for us? It makes it possible for us to allow recipes to be bound and cooked by a certain type of cooking station without binding it to an actual like instance of a cooking station. But if we have two different ovens, for example, now we can use this recipe in both of those ovens. Granted that the ovens are in fact ovens and not like, I don't know, a cooking pot dressed as an oven. Maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea. Like imagine like an Italian forno, but it's a deep fryer. It wouldn't make sense, but it could be something. All right, where were we? Right, so the recipes now, they're gonna default to some sort of value, to oven. That's fine. We just need to make sure that these are golden mushroom platter is indeed an oven recipe. The broth is from a cooking pot. The mushroom platter is at a chopping board. And then the cooking stations themselves, of course. The chopping board is a chopping board. The cooking pot is a cooking pot. And you see here, I even prepared it by calling it deep fryer 1, as if, you know, I'm gonna have multiple deep fryers. Crazy, huh? The way of thinking ahead, that's the secret. And the oven is already here, that's good. Okay, now we have those set up. Does this help us in the least? That was the idea at least, right? Let's see here. Cookbook. We get the recipe. And then for this recipe, now I think this is where we might have to do it recursively. Because we would want to check what the like the base ingredient is. And then what the result ingredient is. And if the result ingredient or like if the base ingredient is not in fact a base ingredient, but a recipe or a result of a different thing, then we might need to do that too. Let's see. Recipes, that was what I wanted to check. What are recipes bound on? Are they set on which actual ID? Or are they like, are they indexed based on what their ingredients are? Let's see. So they do have IDs. Okay. And they have an ingredient and a result. So how do we figure this out? Well, each recipe is going to be one of these boxes, right? And we're going to check. Okay, so, right. So if we only have one step, we're going to have like oven and apple in the case here. If we have multiple steps, there's going to be like oven to something that is, again, a recipe. Okay. So let's see here. So we might need to do some, I don't know how pretty this will be. We'll try here. And usually you would do this with while loops, but if you do a while loop here in Unity, then Unity can freeze up and you can't break that out unless you head into like, you start debugging and you put a breakpoint and it's a mess. So I tend to just do a for loop instead that goes 100 times tops. Because then I know that if I would create an infinite loop, it would break out after 100 iterations. It's not super scientific, but it's a way to work around the limitations of getting stuck in a while loop. So, base ingredient, recipe, yes, ingredient, result equals recipe, result. Okay, so basically what we want to check here is if the, okay, why does this become so problematic in my brain? I need to sort this out by actually visualizing this. So say that we have a two-step cooking thing here. That means that the base ingredient, we do a mushroom here. The base ingredient is going to be the result of 2 steps ahead, right? So I'm going to do like this. And here we have an oven. Very scientific and pretty. There we have an oven, and then in between we have, I don't know, a cooking pot. So when we get this recipe, right? When we get this recipe, we're going to get, let's see here, this station and whatever this result is. And this result is in turn from this station and the base ingredient. And the base ingredient is what we're after, right? So it's a 2-step rocket. This is the where the secret sauce is. So if we call these what they are, we call this 3, and this is a recipe, I guess. Wait, where are all the ingredients? This is a resource, here is a resource, here is a resource. So when we look at this, we check what is this is the result, the base ingredient, if that has a recipe, right? If that has a recipe, then we know to add that again. That's how backwards this is. So if the result has a recipe, then we're not done. How are we going to do this in a smart way? Current result. Current base ingredient equals to recipe so dot ingredient, and then we should probably have a list of the steps of the cooking stations. So like steps, we call it new list of the cooking station type, basically. Cooking station type. This was the enum we just created, right? New list of cooking station type. We will. It's a bit of a, you know, you only live once moment here. We're gonna do a while loop in Unity, and then we hope that I don't lock myself out of the editor. Okay. What do we do? While current base ingredient not equals to null. Okay, we do a Unity lifetime check. While we have a current base ingredient, then we keep on looking. So recipe equals. How would we know that there's a recipe based off of this stuff? Do we have a smart way to do that in the warehouse? Doubt. We can get one recipe, and that's based off of the ID. Let's oh, this is not gonna be good. I think it's best if we return all of the recipes, and then we build a little lookup table for ourselves. I think. Oi. Not easy when it's not easy, is it? Okay. So the recipe. Am I losing myself here? We have the recipe. We need to get recipe by ingredient, but by what? By result, or maybe we will just create a separate data structure in the warehouse. I think that's a good way. Then we have an instant lookup, and we just need to do it when booting up. I think that's a reasonable way to do it. So let's see here. We have recipe script logics here. We changed this, we called recipes by ID. And then we have recipes by, wait, we're gonna look at resulting dish, right? Yeah. By dish. So when we populate this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna just populate the other one too. Recipes by dish dot add result. Okay, so now we're basically building a reverse lookup table, which allows us to look at, like, we can get an instant lookup, which essentially means that we have a constant time complexity of that lookup. So we don't have to iterate through an entire list, we just have to check a value for it. It will be mapped by the actual cooked thing. So we have one way to just look up recipes by their ID, and now we have a way to look up recipes by whatever the recipe is being, like what it is creating. Since recipes are basically blueprints here, right? And then now we should be able to do something like this: get recipe by result dish. Question is, yeah, okay, that works. Okay, then now get recipe warehouse.get recipe by result dish current base ingredient .id. There we go. And we don't call this recipe now, we call this step, because like a recipe can be a recursive list of steps, right? So let's see what we can do here. If this is the second step, we need to go back to this. So here we have the recipe SO is just this entire thing. The first recipe in the list is going to be the resulting, it's going to hold the resulting dish. So we can create first here the result dish. Result dish, it sounds so weird. Final cooked dish. Dish, we just call it dish. Recipe so.result. So that we know what we're gonna put to the far left. And then we're gonna go from the right and move backwards to find, in the end, the base ingredient. So we look at this recipe and we see it must have a current base ingredient the first time. So we should always go in here. And if we have wait, maybe we'd need to, should we log that there is no such recipe? No recipe for dish. I think that's fine. For now we will log that, it's gonna be what it is. We don't need to log that. We assume that this is gonna be fine. So you get a null value, and then we check if step equals null. If it is null, then we break, because then we're done. Why can't I K? Wait, if there isn't a step, sorry. If there isn't a step, then we go. But if there is a step, it means that we have arrived at a different recipe. So then we say current base. Okay, well then we don't even need this while loop, right? While true. Current. We need to change this either way. Current base ingredient equals to step dot ingredient. Nej. Jo, exact. And then we continue. We need to add to the list of steps, of course. Steps dot add step dot cooking station. Maybe we do this. Where do we add this? We need to add this first also. Recipe so cooking station. So that's the first step. That's gonna be to the far right. And okay, but we can do that in here actually. Maybe we need to take a look at the current recipe. How are we doing this really? So we have the cooking station from the step. We should set this as a step instead, I think. A while step. This is what we do. And then we can set that to the next step later. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. I think that's gonna work. So we still need to create some sort of holder for the steps that we've gone through. The current base ingredient that we can also take in here. So we know that step is gonna be not null at the first time. Step dot ingredient base ingredient. We're also gonna store the result here first. Dish equals to step dot result. So we take the base ingredient, and then first we're gonna add the cooking station also. And then here we check, okay, we can just take out the recipe here, the next recipe in the chain, if there is one. Next recipe equals to warehouse dot get recipe by result dish step dot ingredient dot id if here we go. We can actually do just this, and then it's gonna break automatically, right? While step, we add the step for cooking station, and then we try to get the step by the next ingredient. This is as perfect as it can get, I think. So now we need to populate a little box for this. And I wonder, maybe we should just have a little data structure to help us keep things in check here. So we call it recipe data for now. And it has a result icon as a sprite. Like, what is this recipe cooking? And then we have like a base ingredient. That's what we're gonna find out at the very end. And then we have a list of sprites. We can actually list of cooking stations. We should have. We can take out the sprites later. We do the resource scriptable object for these two. Result dish, base ingredient, cooking station type, steps. Because those are the things that we're interested in. We have sort of like the dish that we want to cook, and that's we're gonna show to the far left. Let's see, like here. And then it's gonna show us the order of steps, but backwards. So we will recursively go back to until we find this base ingredient, and this one shouldn't have a recipe to create, right? That's how we find it, and that's why this logic would work, that we step backwards for each and thing. So here we create recipe datas. Datas is my plural of data or data for now. I know that's not probably correct, but it works. New list the recipe data, and then we populate this recipe datas dot add new recipe data, result dish being what? That's the dish. this needs to be accessed from the outside anyway, so it may as well be public. Oi. Base ingredient equals. That's the one that we're gonna arrive at. So once at this point, we do this. Next step. If next step equals how do we do this in a smart way? Base ingredient steps. Recipe data. This shouldn't be a super complex thing, right? Why is my brain not braining? While we have a recipe, we add the step of that recipe and we check if there's a new recipe. Now we should just be able to continue, but here's the thing, we wouldn't... this is what we can do, actually. Base ingredient, we do this. Base ingredient equals to the current step dot ingredient. And we change this every iteration. Step dot ingredient. And the first time this is just going to be what it is, but that's fine. And then once we arrive here at the end, step. It will break out of this if it doesn't exist, because it's null. But then if it's null, we can't query that recipe. So, but that's okay because we set the base ingredient of the last recipe here, right? So we can just do this base ingredient. And then the steps here. Steps equals steps. Okay. Okay. This is great, actually. This is great. So now we should be able to just read all the recipes that we have and populate them with data that we can then populate our pretty UI with. It's not pretty yet, but it will be pretty. Because each and every part of this have an icon, like a resource scriptable object that I've created has an icon. The cooking station type doesn't have icons. Maybe we shouldn't store them as... we need some sort of lookup for cooking stations. That's okay. We can fix that later. But that's all the data. So for now, let's just recipe data in recipe datas. Let's log these things. Recipe for recipe data dot result dish dot title. And then we need to right here recipe data dot base ingredient dot title, and then right this is going into what? Okay, so this is gonna go okay, now we need to put a list of cooking stations but in reverse order because we were adding them backwards, right? So I think we can do this with like how does this work? Wait, string dot join. I can have a separator here also. So we do this, and then the collection will be recipe data dot steps. Is this gonna put out the actual strings or the underlying int values? I think the actual strings. But we need to reverse this. Can I do that here? It doesn't return it, right? It just assumes that you reverse it first. Okay, we do this. Reverse steps equals 2. Steps dot. And then we can create a new one for this actually. This is gonna add to garbage collection, but for now we're gonna remove this later. This is just for debugging purposes anyway. Unless we can use like some sort of link functionality. Maybe there is such a thing. Oh, never mind. Reversed steps dot reverse. But there must be a way to do this, right? To just get it backwards. Can I get a backwards iterator? What is going on here? It's misbehaving. Okay. List cooking station. Reversed steps. Does anyone know this? Convert, find that. Okay, we want to get this one. Does this return? It's a void anyway. That's the one. Okay. This will do. This will do. We'll do this. We'll do this. We don't have to post it here. Reversed steps. So this should work. And now, when we interact with the cookbook, then, granted that we actually have access to the asset warehouse, then we should be golden. Very cool. I doubt we have the asset warehouse available in the foundation right now. We need to do some smart stuff here, I think. Do we need to create an asset warehouse that we asset warehouse? If I create an asset warehouse, does this automatically fix itself? It initializes all the stuff and it has stuff. This should be possible to pass forward. It's gonna be messy to do that. For now, let's just add that here. Do this asset warehouse. Maybe this cookbook gets to hold it. No one else needs it anyway. Cookbook interactable. We didn't have. We didn't serialize it. Serialize field. So now we can drag and drop. That's cute. We drag and drop the asset warehouse into the cookbook. And then when we interact with the cookbook, it's gonna show the UI and then it's gonna log the stuff that we're gonna populate the UI with soon. In theory, if everything works as intended. In the case of known recipes, let's see, what recipes do we have? Let's add these actually. We add all 5 of them. Should the owners? I mean, this is gonna be a string list that we store to the save file later, so we may as well keep this as a string, even though we are at the mercy of my typing right now, and maybe I will fat finger something. Recipe golden mushroom. Recipe mushroom broth. Okay, I don't think I misspelled anything. That's good. That should be it, I guess. So if we interact now, we should get the log, and everything is beautiful in the world of Fungaralia. Okay, first try. Come on, let's do it. Ah, okay. First of all, we don't want to show that immediately. Okay. That was the warm-up. Cookbook interactable. There we go. Okay. First try. Oh yeah. So I got a follow a while back. Thanks for the follow if you're still in chat. It means a lot. I've increased my amount of followers this stream by 33%. So it's that's huge actually. That's huge. I'm super excited about it. Okay. So we can place things. We can't afford this beautiful sign. Oh my god, the sign that we did on stream last week. How pretty isn't this? Look at this. Oh my god. That is gorgeous. That is rich. We can go and see. Look at this, blinking and stuff. Oh my god. Look at it. Okay, it doesn't do anything right now. It's only pretty, and I think that's okay. I think we can have stuff that aren't necessarily functional always. Okay, let's see here. Okay, now we interact. Are you ready? Is this gonna work? Hope. No. Okay. Was the second attempt at the first try. What happened? An item with the same key has already been added. Resource dish mushroom platter. Jaha. Why is that? No, it wasn't here. That's a lie. Recipes by dish. Okay. Oh, good. We noticed a bug here immediately. It was like writing a unit test that didn't have the test annotation. That's pretty cool. Okay. So one of these are using the same result here. Golden mushroom platter, mushroom broth, mushroom platter. What? Is it one of these that has the wrong ID set up? Mushroom platter. The broth is also called a mushroom platter. It's a wolf in mushroom clothing. There we go. Okay. First try, attempt number 3. Okay, let's go. All right. Oh, okay, we even have a... Okay, but that's not me. That's Unity acting up. Okay, it should open up. It should log stuff. Are we ready for this? This is a drum roll. I need a soundboard that I can click here. I need to fix that. Okay. Nej. Or. Hello. Attempt number 3 failed also. Why is that? Okay, we ended up at a null pointer thingy. Okay. But at least we didn't end up in the infinite while loop madness. What? Aha. Okay, okay. We may have done some incorrect drag and dropping. This is what game development truly looks like. You drag and drop the wrong thing onto the wrong stuff. Catalog, this is just a mesh. Here we have the cookbook interactable. Here we have the UI. Did we forget to put the UI? No, it's there. What? Why didn't this work? Ah, do we have... No. Oh wait, it's not in... Oh my god, it's not in the foundation. Yo, it is in the foundation. We spawned it in. Why would this one whine? Ah! Look, we forgot to fix this after we moved it. Okay. Okay. That could have... It could have thrown me for a loop. It did throw me for a loop, I guess. Okay, are we ready? First try, attempt number 4. This time it's gonna show the stuff and it's gonna pretty print stuff in the log. And we're gonna be so excited. And you're all gonna be so happy that you got to be here and share in this moment. Okay. Cookbook, here we go. And ta-da! Okay, perfect. First try. So, did it actually print the stuff that we wanted? Let's see here. Oh my god, it even does it in the way that we want. It has a weird quotation point, but it does sort of the right thing. Recipe. Recipe for why? Oh, okay. Why is it empty? What? Why isn't that set? This doesn't make any sense. It just says recipe for nothing. Why is recipe data result dish title empty? Is the result dish never set? The dish here is the step.result. This is weird. Why is the rest of it working as it wants? We never changed this, right? We don't. Sospetto. Okay. The dish is the first result. Now we don't change that. And then all the way down here, it's empty. Nay. Oh. Okay. I think it is because we simply haven't added the titles to these things. We just use the IDs so far and the icons. Because we haven't had to write them out. So these have a title, these have a title. This does not have titles. How are we going to write out what it is that you're gonna cook? If you... if the like even the recipes don't even know what it's called. Golden mushroom platter, mushroom broth, mushroom broth, mushroom platter, mushroom platter. Maybe I should just write all the recipes in Swedish so I don't butcher the pronunciations. Chicken of the woods, shiitake, deep fried tenders. That's how we would sound. It's how we would make it in Fungish as well, I think. Golden mushroom platter, mushroom broth. We don't really pronounce the th sound so well in Swedish, so it's easy to just replace it with f. I think that I like that a lot. Broth. And if you're lisping, you can also replace the s with f. So if you're a lisping Swede, you would just say f for everything. Chicken of the wood, shiitake, deep fried tender. Let's see. Okay. These things we can't do much about right now. I don't care about them either. But we did find a thing. So now, if we for the 5th attempt on the first try, we go to look at the cookbook. What it's gonna do is that it's now we know that it's at least showing the things that we wanted to show, but it will also log the stuff so we know. So you see here, triple cooked apple pie. It uses an apple and then you put it in the oven 3 times, right? But in the logs here we can see to make deep fried tenders, you put chicken of the woods in the deep fryer, and if you want to do double deep fried tenders, deep friend. Double deep friend tenders. That's a fantastic recipe name. Oh, double deep friend. Let's not call it that, I think. Fried. Okay. Then you take a chicken of the woods, which are... Wait, I can't close this right now, can I? Cookbook. Yeah. So, if you go here, you can stock up on chicken of the wood and shiitake. And these are 2 different mushrooms, and they produce different results when you put them in different cooking stations like this. So, in order for us to sort of cook double deep fried tenders, as you see here in the log, you take a chicken of the woods, which is this yellow thing, and you put it in the deep fryer. And then, once you already deep fried it once, you deep fry it again. It's simple as that. All right. So that means that we can, we should be able to visualize each and every recipe that we currently have in the game, which is pretty cool. And since we now we don't have icons for all the cooking stations though. That's something that we need to fix. But we can at least write what it is, which is a good start. So let's take a look at the UI again and start populating it. So now that we have the data, we want to actually show it once you open up the cookbook, right? Let's see. Catalog cookbook UI here. Oi. Triple cooked apple pie. Let's get rid of you. So all of these are just called recipe box 1 up to 10. So we can do a simple for loop to catch each and every one of these. And then we see if we will have to have multiple pages, and we need to have some sort of like logic to switch between the pages as well. But for now, this is going to be a good start. And then we will just change them for what they are. And if they have multiple steps here, we have step 1, 2, 3. If it doesn't have a 3rd step, we would simply not display that one. That's how we would do it. We'll do it simple now, then we can make it pretty and dynamic and, you know, fully flexible later. So let's start here. First one is called recipe box something. And rather than for eaching these, since we're going to be using the IDs anyway, we may as well do a regular for loop here. Recipe data. Okay. So we have the steps here and everything. That's really, really cool. Recipe data. And down here now, we handle the UI. But we're going to be using some pagination and stuff here later. For now, I think we're not gonna iterate over the recipe data. We're gonna iterate over the amount of recipe slots we have. Const num recipe slots, which we know is 10. Can I do this? Maybe it can't be. Oh, okay. Num recipe slots, and then we do here. If how does this work now? All right, okay. So if I is, we do this simply. If I is bigger than equal to recipe data.count, like we're checking for each and every slot like this, and if we get to a point where, okay, we don't have any more recipes here, then we know that all of the other recipes, they are gonna be empty, right? So we hide them. And then we can early out also. So we do like the last part of the loop extra quick and fast, which is very, very enticing and exciting, I think. So if it's bigger than recipe data count, then we do this. We know that the slot is gonna exist either way. So recipe slot equals to document dot root visual elements dot query, and it's a visual element we're looking for, and the identifier is recipe box I+1. So then we're going to get each and every one of them, and since it's not zero indexed, or we didn't set it up, I didn't set it up zero indexed, we need to add the one here to get to the correct recipe slot. And if it's bigger than equal to recipe data, then we know that we don't have any recipe data to put in this recipe slot. So then we do recipe slot dot. Do you just set the visibility to 0, or do we hide it? We might have a different. We might change like how it looks. Maybe it should be like an empty slot or something in the future. But for now, we'll just set style of display to none. So that will effectively hide it, and we can continue on to the next part of the loop. And here's the sweet part. This is like the early return programming pattern, which means that everything after this, you know that you have the recipe slot and stuff. So you can focus on like, just using it. You don't have to worry about the null checking and all these things. Like in theory. We're gonna try it and I'm gonna be off by 1 or something anyways. But I don't know. 75% of the times it works every time. So we have the recipe data here. What else? Okay, reverse it. Now, so this debug log we can remove later, but this is good because it shows that we have the data that we're interested in. So in our recipe slot, we're gonna have the base ingredient icon. Base ingredient icon equals recipe slot dot query what? What are we looking for? It's a visual element that has some ID. Maybe we need to get the parent first so we can get the icon and label thereafter. Base ingredient box. Base ingredient. I think this is what we called it. Let's verify that quickly. Yeah, it's called no result dish, of course, is what we're looking at. But then we have the base ingredient. But the base ingredient is going to be there anyway. Base ingredient is just going to be the let's see here. It also has an icon and a label. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna need that anyway, but we also need a result dish box or a recipe dish box. What do we call it? Result dish. What's that what it's called? Yeah. Okay. Recipe dish box. And then we need, it was a label and icon we called it. Beneath it, I think. Let's see. Come on, Unity, work with me. Allow me to open it up. Icon and label, we called it. Recipe dish icon equals recipe slot. No, recipe dish box dot query visual element, and then it's just called label. I wonder, since there's only one of them, maybe I can just do this. Now we have recipe dish title. This was the label, sorry, label. And this we call the icon. And then the question is, do I really need to create variables for these references? Nah, probably not. I could just query it and set the text immediately. But for the sake of keeping stuff relatively sane and not to make myself cry too much in the future when I need to go back and change this, I think this is a sane way forward. So recipe dish icon dot background style dot background image is what we're doing, and there's like a background namespace from sprite, and here we have the data. What was the data called? Recipe data dot result dish dot icon, and then we have the same thing with the title. But here we just change the text because it's a label, right? And we take the recipe data dot result dish dot title. And if we want like more descriptions and tags and stuff, then this is where we would populate it, right? And then we do the same thing for the base ingredient. Can we just do this? I think some sweet regexing. We change recipe dish to base ingredient. Aye. Sorry. Okay. Let's try again. Recipe dish base ingredient. There we go. Good. And this shouldn't be recipes. Yo, this is recipe slot as well. And then we do the same thing here. Can I do this? Perfect. But here we're not looking for the result, if we're looking at the base ingredient. Base ingredient, icon, style, background image, base ingredient, title, text. Perfect. And now we need to create like the backward steps of cooking things. Right? So how many steps do we do? 4 int step in int step equals to 0. Step is less than recipe data.steps.count. Step plus plus. So another for loop for each of these steps. And then for each of the steps, we want to. We need to do sort of the same thing as we did up here. Because we need to sort of make the steps we need to hide the steps if you have less than a certain amount. So let's do this again. Int const int max steps. My name is Max also, but this is not my steps. This is the maximum amount of steps. Equals to, if it's less than max, lugn. If it's less than max steps, then we keep on going. And then we check in here the same thing. If step is less than or greater than equal to, I guess. Step dot count. Can it have one? It must always have one step. It must always have one step, so this should work. If it's bigger or equal to, then we hide that box. It's the same sort of logic as we did up here. But first we can actually access that box. Step box, or current step, we call it. Current step box equals to recipe slot dot query visual element, and can it be called step 1 or step whatever it is that we put here, step plus 1. I think that was what we called it. And since Unity or a writer seemed to suggest it, I think we can trust it. I don't think you should think that you can trust things. I think you should know if you can trust things or not. Otherwise, you're not trusting it, right? Isn't that like in the in the definition? So each step 1, step 2, step 3 has an icon and a label. Perfect. That's what we're gonna play with. But for now, if it's bigger, then we know that this step is not currently of interest. So we say bye-bye. Current step box dot style dot display equals to display style dot none. And we merely skip on to the next step. Okay, if we do have a step, however, step cooking step equals to recipe data dot steps with that index. Wait, we do have reverse steps up here. Let's see. We call this cooking steps. And then we use the cooking steps down here instead, actually. Cooking steps, and then same here. And what do we do with the cooking step? Current, all right, we need to query these things as well. So we do we replace recipe dish with cooking current step, and then we set the current step icon. Okay, title equals to cooking step dot. All right, we don't have an icon here to fix. Okay, this we need to do later. We do current step icon equals to cooking step. We actually take this from the warehouse, I think. Asset warehouse warehouse dot get cooking station, and we buy type. We're gonna do here cooking stuff, and then we get the icon from that. This doesn't exist yet, so we will do a big fat to do for this. To do implement. Let's see here. Style background image. Okay. So we'll just keep the oven image for now. I think that's fine. But we need to add the text. What text is it then? Maybe we need the text and the stuff from the damned stations anyway. What a nuisance. Should we have default cooking stations? Because each and every different cooking station we have, like if we have multiple different deep fryers, they're probably gonna have their own scriptable objects. It's still gonna be of the same type. So maybe we need like generic type data for it, actually. I think so. We don't create like an actual thing for it. I think we'll just create like a map thing. We will do that. We'll do that. Actually, while we're at it, we may as well not cheat our way out of this, because we're gonna need to do it at some point anyway. We'll do this. Cooking station archetype, you can call it, because that's basically what it is. Like, even if you have different types of deep fryers, you have like it's of the deep fryer archetype. This is really good. I made like on the devlog, I made like a side rant about archetypes and how that is an incredible word and type to describe things. I will put the link to the devlog in the chat, actually. Let's see. And you get it all without these different stuff. Wait. There we go. So this is the devlog. Every week I post like the updates and some tech tips and tricks sometimes, and some more philosophical deep dives around game development or running a game studio and these things. If you're interested, feel free to give a subscribe there. I think you can actually search for like the if you search archetype, can you find it? Archetype. It was from devlog 27, I thought, and that's a lie. Or yeah, no. It's just used as archetype. Okay, there was somewhere I wrote about archetypes. Nah, it really is there. Okay, I thought I had done something more explicitly, but it can be an interesting read nonetheless, I think. So we have the archetypes. We're gonna create some sort of base archetypes for it. But what's in a base archetype? A cooking station archetype basically contains all the stuff that the cooking stations currently have. So maybe we will change. I think we're going to change the way that we structure the cooking station data, so that each cooking station has their own stuff. Like, what would they do different? They have different icons and stuff, of course. So they share a lot of base data. I think that works. We're gonna like pull away parts of it and make each cooking station have an archetype of their own. Let's see here. In the warehouse, we need to create some sort of holder for this. Should we have scriptable objects for this as well? Yeah, I think so. Let's do this. scriptable object, cooking station, type, archetype. We call it archetype because it contains like the data that we would want for it as well. And this won't take too long, I think. Yeah, cooking, curriculum, cooking station archetype. We put it under Parafox Games /cooking/new cooking station archetype. And what do we have here then? Okay, so in the cooking stations, it has an ID, it has a title, it has a description. Now it currently has a cooking station type, which is just the enum. We're going to move this type to the archetype. Where did it go? What? There. And then I don't think we did, like, this enum can actually be a part of that as well. I think that's fine. I think that makes sense. And then the question is, should the, all right, okay, so the recipe should also, wait, how does this work now? So each recipe used to have a cooking station type as well. Now, they will have a cooking station archetype instead. Archetype, I think. Or do they really need all that data? Nah. Let's see here. We need to re-import it. So, oh, okay, that's perfect. So now it has a cooking station type. The archetype in and of itself basically just has the type here, that's fine. But then we can have other like nice things like title. What is this archetype called? Wait. Stirring. Now I'm getting so excited about this. You can tell that like I start like missing what I'm typing. Now we're creating these systems and it's so cool. All right. So we don't need a description, but I like it. I like having like icon, title, description, ID, description. And usually we would put an ID here, but since the archetypes are gonna be sort of like the core pillars basically of each station, I think the type will be sort of the ID of itself. And if we accidentally create that doubly, then we will need to sort that out some way later anyway. And then of course some icon. So like it doesn't really matter what, like if you have a deep fryer and you have a golden deep fryer and you have a fancy steampunk deep fryer and you have a pot with some oil in it, it's all gonna be the deep fryer archetype. And the core concept is still, you know, to cook things at a high temperature in a short time in like not boiling oil but hot oil. And that type of description we put in the archetype. And that means that later, if you want to like, if we want to put more stuff in the UI about like what different cooking stations do, then this is a great place to put it. We also need an icon for like this is a type of an like a deep fryer, and these sort of archetype icons should probably be a lot more stylized and not as much what they actually look like. And maybe we can use this also for if we put up different categories per cooking stations in the sort of decoration mode, we can use that as well. All right, we don't need to serialize this because these are just base types and the public, or they're serializable, all of them at least. So I think that's fine. What we do need to do here is that we create, we need to have an archetype here. Public cooking station archetype. Scriptable object, we should have called this, because it is a scriptable object, so we don't confuse it with stuff later on. Archetype. Can I do that, or is all hell gonna break loose? Scriptable object. Okay. Ah, okay. Let's see. Now I changed here for. We don't need the cooking station archetype. Okay, so each cooking station right now is going to be a one-to-one mapping because we only have like one deep fryer, one oven, all these things, which is fine. But we need to keep that in mind also. So like what we're doing is not necessarily unnecessary work. It's just what it is. Okay. Now that we have some archetype data, we need to put them somewhere. Cooking stations here. I wonder. Let's put the cooking stations under cooking. I think that is makes more sense for me. I always click on cooking when I want to go to cooking stations anyway. And then we can actually create like ovens, and then we put the oven. Is this going to be confusing? Do we want all of them in the same place? Decisions. We do this. Cooking stations. We'll just create archetypes outside, and then we'll figure out a smart way to organize this so it doesn't get so cluttered. Maybe we'll do it vice versa for now. We'll create an archetypes folder. And then here we create Perplex Games, Cooking, New. Where did it go? Is it that way? Okay. It didn't compile, so we didn't get all the new and juicy changes that we need. The recipe data here can, however, have a cooking station archetype scriptable object. Are there more stuff here now? Oh my god. Cooking station arc. We should. It's so long now. Okay. Archetype scriptable object. And the same thing here. Where's the cooking station? This doesn't exist. Archetype. No. Okay, wait. What did we call this in the recipe? Okay, we still had it like that. We saved the archetype in the recipe. I think that's better. Cooking station archetype scriptable object. What else? The steps we had, the cooking station here is not going to be cooking station, so it's going to be cooking station archetype scriptable object. We're going to reverse that. We show it, and then once we have the data here, my brain is like bouncing back and forth. Yeah, like we were setting up like the actual archetypes, but now I think we're just gonna write the code here for it because we're here and my brain is braining at an overclocked speed right now for some reason. Cooking station archetype is what? Step dot. Nay, okay. It's just a step. The step are the archetypes, so we can just do this. Step dot title. Cooking step. Sorry. Cooking step. The title, and this should be background from sprite. Cooking step. Cooking step dot icon. There we go. Text. Okay, that should be it. Then we need to create the archetypes and we need to remap everything, and then Bing bada boom. We have a cookbook. That's how you do it. It's not so complicated. It is quite complicated, but it's not overly complicated. It's complicated, but it's not complex, and that's I think that's a good thing to strive for when designing systems. Okay, let me see here. In our archetypes, we should now be able to create new archetypes. Cooking station archetype. Let's see. Archetype. What do we prefix this? Cooking station archetypes. Oven, call it. And then type oven, title oven, description. How do you describe an oven? Hot space for baking stuff. How do you describe an oven? Is there like a good definition of it? What does Google say? What is an oven? An oven is a thermally insulated, fully enclosed chamber used for heating, baking, roasting, or drying. Okay. Hot space used for heating, baking, roasting, or drying, I think. I will do like heat things, bake things, or roast things. But it's more like what it. How would we describe this? Anyone have a good suggestion for the description of an oven? A box with hot air, I call it. Not usable. Good for baking and roasting things. I think that's the best I can come up. If anyone have a better description, please feel free to share them. And for now, we will just all of them will have the oven cooking station icon for now, but we will we'll make them pretty later. So we also have the deep fryer. Deep fryer. Scalding. I think that's a good word. Scalding hot oil with a basket used to cook things. That doesn't sound weird. It sounds really weird. A basket for ingredients is lowered in hot oil. Beware of splash and burn damage. What? No. Careful. It gets really hot. I think that's what I do. Attention. You say attention. Warning. Hot. No, wait. Okay, it removed the stuff that we had written. A basket for ingredients is lowered in scalding hot oil. Warning, hot. Perfect, and then we need the cooking pot. Cooking pot, a staple in the kitchen, used for boiling and simmering things. And then we need a chopping board. Chop. Chopping board with, how do you say when something is belonging to something? Like, or when it comes with something. Chopping boards with complementary knives. That's not what it's called. Or chopping board with wooden chopping board with a set of knives. Chop, cut, and mince your way to greatness, to chunky greatness. Because you chop chunks, right? That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. We should also call this the chopping board. Chopping board. And then in the warehouse, we need to create an entry for these. Nay, we don't need to do that. We just need to add them to the cooking stations, I think. We need to add the archetypes as well. But, first things first. So the cooking station should have the. No, wait. The chopping board should have the chopping board archetype. The cooking pot should have the cooking pot archetype. The deep fryer should have the deep fryer archetype. Oh my god, I literally wrote this for the other deep fryer way back when. I want to say great minds think alike, but I think it's it comes off wrong since it's just old me versus current me that thinks the same, and I don't think that's really weird. Minds think alike. Same minds think alike, I think would be the expression in this case. All right, okay, this is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. And then the warehouse needs access to these so that. Nah, we don't even need access to this. We don't need to map it because it's already in the cooking stations, right? Yeah, and in the recipes have it as well. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Good. So here, let's see. The deep fried tenders are done in a deep fryer. The doubly deep fried tenders are also done in a deep fryer. The golden mushroom platter is done in the oven. The mushroom broth is created in a cooking pot. And the mushroom platter is made by mincing or chopping shiitake. Okay, are you ready for the first try of the stream? The first try took 5 attempts. Maybe this one goes faster. Okay, we're gonna have some off by 1 error or something. I guarantee it. There's gonna be something. We'll see. Wait. Okay. We try. Fingers crossed. In Swedish, you say "håll tummarna," like hold your thumbs. I don't know why you would hold your thumbs like this when you would ever do it, but that's what we say. So let's hear. Okay, come on now. First try. It kind of works. Yeah, it kind of works. It has the first 3 recipes there. I don't know why I didn't hide the others. Chicken of the woods and the deep fryer. Chicken of the woods, deep fryer, and chicken of the woods, oven. What? No, this was not the. Aha, oven. Yeah, exactly. It's because the default values are weird. Oh wait, argument out of range exception. Okay, that's why. Okay. That can happen. Where? Show me. Aha, okay, that's why. Guys, don't get your iterators mixed up, because it will cost you your precious first try cheers. But it's okay. I would still consider this the first try. It's just the second attempt. Okay. Gang. Unity is crying about serializing stuff now. We let it keep on crying silently. We say, shh. Unity, shh. Calm down. We hear you. We feel your pain. We ignore it right now. Okay. First try, attempt number 2. Hey! It works! Perfect. It doesn't look very pretty, but it works as it's intended. But the Chicken of the Woods has such a long title that it's kicking everyone else out. All right. Okay. But we said we would be able to fit 3 steps. So let's create something with 3 steps. I think that's fair. Okay. So let's do this. We create what? What should you be able to create? From the mushroom platter, that's basically minced mushrooms. If you put that in the oven, you should be able to create a baked, like a mushroom bake, we call that. That's good. That's good. I like it. A mushroom bake. And that uses a mushroom platter as an ingredient, and it creates. Okay, wait. We need to split this up a bit. Resources here. Nay. Okay, wait. We do this and we lock this. There we go. Okay. Mushroom platter. Here we create a mushroom bake. Mushroom bake. And this recipe, I need another project. This is crazy. For now, it will live here. But this will have the recipes instead. So for the mushroom bake recipe, we use a platter as an ingredient, but the result should be a mushroom bake. And then the recipe should also be called mushroom bake. And then if we take that mushroom bake and we deep fry it, we can make some sort of deep fried mushroom pie, right? It's like South Italian style. You just cook things, and then once they're cooked, you put them in the deep fryer. Okay. So we would call it what? We would call it deep fried mushroom pie. Maybe mushroom pie is what it should be. Actually, no, I changed my mind. It's not a mushroom bake, it's a mushroom pie. You create a pie when you put it in the oven. Mushroom pie, and then we also change this into we have some sort of pie. So you use mushroom platter in the oven, you get a mushroom pie. And then you put the mushroom pie in the deep fryer. Deep fried mushroom pie. We'll have to change the meshes and stuff for that later also. Which one looks like a deep fried pie? Is this a... Maybe this is the pie and this is the deep fried pie. I think that's what we do. For now. We need to update the icons anyway. May as well do it a bit cute now. With what we have. Okay. Platter. This should be called mushroom pie. And then we have the deep fried mushroom pie. Deep fried mushroom pie. We don't need descriptions for this right now, but let's see. And then we need a recipe for the mushroom mushroom pie. We should also call this deep fried mushroom pie. And mushroom bake is called mushroom pie now. So this takes a platter, produces a pie. The deep fried should take a pie and produce a deep fried mushroom pie. But this should be done not on the chopping board, but in the deep fryer. Okay, so the mushroom platter is done on the chopping board. The mushroom pie should be done in the oven. And then the deep fried mushroom pie should be in the deep fryer. Okay, so now we have a 3-step recipe. We just need to add this also to the warehouse. Let's see, where the recipe. So we have mushroom pie and different mushroom. Okay, that should be it. I'm ready for the first try. For the 3rd time during the stream. First try. Okay. Hold all the fingers, all the toes, all the thumbs that you can. I don't know, maybe this is the Swedish way where you do both, crossing fingers and holding your thumbs. Okay. Maybe it looks more like a weird gang sign or something. I don't want. No affiliations. It's just, good luck. Okay, first try. Go. Wait. We already have an argument exception. This is not gonna work. We're not counting this as a try because we added something with the same ID. That is my bad. Or is it your bad for not telling me? Out on thin ice when you start blaming people that may or may not be listening to this while doing important stuff. Recipe mushroom pie, first of all. And then here we go. That's why I tried to create the mushroom bake twice. And that can't be done. Oh, yo. Here we go. Okay. Did we still get no problem this time? No problem. Okay. Now we go. First try. Everyone holding their thumbs, their fingers, their toes. Here we go. Nah. Okay. Yeah, well. Okay. It's because we don't know the recipes. That was the 2nd attempt of the first try. We will do it on the 3rd attempt, I'm sure. Where did we put up those? In here. In the cookbook, do we know? This is why, you guys, I was fooling myself. We have more recipes, but we don't know them. It's like if you all have cookbooks at home, like without opening it up, do you know which recipes are in there? No, you don't. You need to, look at them first to see them, and then you learn them, and then you put them internalized in your own cookbook, right? And currently, our cookbook is in the shelf, and now we just need to, teach the player to cook these things. Mushroom pie, and then deep fried mushroom pie. Now, okay. Now we should know. Here it goes. Attempt number 3, first try. Maybe we shouldn't hold thumbs and fingers and stuff. Like, I'm not a superstitious person, and maybe you guys are doing that, and it's throwing off the sort of the energies or something. I don't know. We'll see. Without any like holding thumbs or anything, because now it's just gonna work. Ta-da! Very, very cool. So now we actually have sort of like the functionality all in place. So that means that if you are lost when you're cooking stuff, you can simply, scurry over to the cookbook and see, oh, how was it that I cooked the golden mushroom platter? Because it's on my menu and people are ordering it, but I don't remember in which order I was going to cook stuff. Like, you simply go over here and, you open it up. I think we have like a cute sound also, but I can't play it on stream because of how my audio channels are set up. Yeah, but it's like open up a book and then you see the deep fried tenders. Right. I just take the chicken of the woods and I put it in the deep fryer. And then hopefully you can know that like the deep fryer is doing what it should be. But I am getting starving or famished talking about food, looking at food, and it's 12:25, which is it's halfway through my lunchtime. So I'm actually gonna go for lunch. But if you like seeing this, please subscribe and join me for the next stream. So I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I publish a devlog every Sunday over at Substack. If you're interested in more of this, you can go to parafox.games, which is a website, our website, and you press devlog and it will take you there. I'll probably upload this stream to YouTube also later. So if you wonder how I was doing certain things in the beginning of the stream and stuff, you can just check that afterwards. And I think that's that. So thank you so much for joining the stream. It's been a blast. You're all amazing. And yeah, take care. Bye.